Welcome back, Camden Catholic. We're going to finish up what we started on today in class, and sorry if I'm a little quick, but I have supper on the stove right now, so I'm going to try and do this while still trying to get the point across, but I'm going to move pretty quick. So, we left off with life in ancient Sparta today, and we're going to pick back up with where we stopped with women in Sparta. So, women, of course, unfortunately, because in most Western civilizations, as we know, did not have the same kind of status as men. However, women in Sparta were actually required to meet up every day in the village square and exercise together to strengthen their bodies so they could produce strong warriors. And honestly, though, most women in Sparta held a higher office than men. Some queens were actually King Leonidas' wife was actually considered his best advisor. So, also, the great thing about women in Sparta was, unlike Athens, women in Sparta could inherit property if their husband passed away at war, instead of just being arranged to marry somebody else, or a lot unlike what people do we talk about the brother law. Good job, Julia. Very good job, Miss Kimber. That's right. The Hebrews, if their husband died, they actually had to get remarried to the man's brother, right? And so they didn't get to keep any kind of property at all. So now, Sparta isolated themselves from other Greeks. They highly, highly discouraged travel and trade, and this made them very unique, very deadly, but also very self-sufficient. They didn't want to compromise any of their cultural values for anyone. Now, this is going to lead to some much later conflicts like the Peloponnesian War and other things like that, because let's be honest, do you think the Athenians and the Spartans really liked each other that much anyway? Not really. So, but now we got to kind of get on to Athens and how their lifestyle was just hugely different, and honestly, why they were such a dominant city-state as well. So this, of course, is the what part of Athens is this? Every city-state, remember, has two parts. What part is this, though, atop the hill? Very, very, very good answer. That's right, it's the Acropolis, okay? So remember, the Acropolis is where all of the temples to the gods and goddesses of each individual city-state's god or goddess, patron god or goddess was. So, now, start it. What's up? They can pause it all they want to. I'm sorry, my fiance was saying that I was going too fast. I think y'all can handle it. All right, so anyway, so Athens started as an aristocracy. Now, we talked about an aristocracy earlier today in class. An aristocracy is, of course, a small group of wealthy landowners who were in charge. So, wealth is going to grow extremely quickly in Athens. But can anybody tell me why they think it was? Remember, we showed you a map today in class of Greece with Sparta and its allies, and then Athens and its allies. So, why do you think Athens' wealth grew so rapidly? Some of y'all are close. Some of y'all are getting there. It mainly has to do with their position along the coast. They had an extreme amount of access to the Adriatic and the Mediterranean Sea, so they could actually move around much more efficiently and trade with other people a lot more efficiently. So they were actually the first ones to come in contact with the Phoenicians, who then also were the ones that gave us our what again? Good job, Haley. Our phonetic alphabet, right? So now, you need to write this guy down. I thought about skipping him, but I think he is actually pretty important because when you honestly think about it, he is the father of modern day democracy. So go ahead and make sure you get him. So Solon is his name, and it's Solon. He's going to be the government reformer in Athens that's going to change them for forever. Now, he was appointed chief official in 594 BC. He's considered the father of all modern day government. Now, he outlawed debt slavery, and then also he pushed Athens towards a democracy. He was the first one to come up with a system of voting. Something really cool, though, about Athenians, though, is the way that they actually voted was they had two separate piles of rocks, and they had a pile of white rocks, and then they had a pile of black rocks. And what they would do is that each person, when they were ready to vote, would just come up and grab a rock and then toss it into the corresponding pot or pile, which is who they were voting for, and then they would just divvy up the votes. So that right there is a bust of Solon. Unfortunately, what's going to happen, though, he's going to be overthrown by tyrants. Now, a tyrant, again, is a person who gains power through force. But fortunately enough, the tyrants are going to then create the very first legislature group or lawmaking group of people. So only land-owning male citizens, unfortunately, were allowed to vote. So you had this, remember, it started as an aristocracy. Solon comes in and tries to change it up and make it a little bit more democratic. But then the tyrants are going to take what they learned from Solon, even though he was overthrown, and they're going to create legislative bodies of representatives. So, of course, that's what we get our representative democracy from. Athenian women, all right? So we're going to get a lot more deep into this stuff as time goes on, like when Pericles comes to his rise in classical Athens, and we'll be able to go much, much further in depth with this. But remember, we're just scratching the surface right now. So women cannot participate in politics. However, women ran the entire household. Women were also extremely essential for many, 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 many religious rituals. Right here, this is actually a 300-year-old pot, or not 300, excuse me, that's aggressive. It's a 2,000-year-old pot that actually has a painting on the outside of it showing women going to the well, and that's one of the places where they could actually meet up and discuss, because women were not allowed in the marketplace in Greece. And what was the marketplace in Greece called again? Good job, Sam. It's the agora, right? Now, educating the youth in Athens. So if women weren't allowed to participate in politics, who do you think the only people allowed to participate in education were? Good job. Just like in Mesopotamia, wealthy, right here, wealthy males, wealthy boys in particular. Now, judging from this plate, because I don't know why Greeks decided to put all their history on plates and pots. If somebody wants to look that up, they can bring it in for extra credit. I'd really appreciate it. They actually, this is right here showing a school in Athens. And the really, really amazing thing about it is as you can tell, this young man right here is learning his writing from his instructor. Also right here, this young boy is playing a harp. So there was music, literature, a lot of different things that were taught in these Athenian schools. Boys attended school, and if the family could afford it, and he learned to read, write, studied music, memorized poetry, and also took a course on public speaking. Received some, but very, very, very little military training. So let's finish up real quick with religion, because we're going to go real in deep with the mythology stuff real soon. Archaic Greeks believed that all of their gods lived on Mount Olympus, which is an actual mountain in northern Greece. To discover the will of the gods, people talked to oracles, which is a priest or a priestess that were supposed to speak to the gods for them. The big thing about myths is they were mainly used to replace science to explain the natural world. Okay? So right here real fast, that is Mount Olympus, but I'm going to jump back for you real quickly because I don't think there's anything past that. We're going to talk about military strategies and new warfare and how that's going to shape Greece much later on. But we'll get to that when we get there. And I can't wait to see y'all tomorrow. We're going to talk about your next project. So I'll see you then. Have a good evening.